G'day guys, welcome back to Sunset City. Today I want to check out the creator content pack by Revo. This is the mid-century house pack and man, it's got some great looking houses that are absolutely perfect for this series. I was originally going to work in Sunset City for this episode, but the episode kind of took a bit of a turn. I ended up just spending the entire time in this little resort town that we built in the last episode. I was only meant to work down here for the very first part of the episode, but I got super carried away. But I'm kind of glad I did because I ended up using the mid-century house pack in a way that I didn't really anticipate, and it honestly probably worked out for the better. Let's start by naming up our little resort town, our little island that we built last week, and great name suggestions from you guys. Let's name this bad boy up San Julia, or you should probably pronounce that San Julia. Name suggestion from one of you guys, so thanks for that. And a couple of other suggestions as well. So a lot of people are saying that the Keys down in Florida don't actually have a sandbank along the entire edge of the island. So it's actually, they're mostly taken up by these mangroves, which I do have these mangroves down here, but of course we've got this sandbank that is also there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of some of these waves. Might even just, you know what, I might just get rid of those ones. And then I'm going to extend our mangroves all the way up to the shoreline. We can't get that close, but I am going to use Move It to select these trees, and then I'll get them even closer to the water's edge. Because mangroves do creep into the water, so I would like that to be nice and close. That's already pretty close, but I can do a little bit better. Getting it pretty dense within these areas, but then also leaving a couple little spots that are just a bit more clear, placing down a couple of these grass props too, looking really nice. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue this road out here because I would like there to be some sort of marina, some sort of boat ramp, or maybe like a little holiday resort place. I don't really know. I'm just still trying to figure out what that's going to look like. But if I start dragging that out like that, oops. Get rid of some of those trees. In fact, what we could do is make a scaled down version of something like this. Have a couple of these channels and these houses that sit onto this area. Maybe make this a holiday park, or maybe make this some sort of residential area. I'm not really sure yet, but I think I've got the houses in mind that we could potentially use. So what I've got here is I've got these networks that are invisible and they drop the ground depending on the level that you raise them to, and I've forgotten the name of them, which is why I've just copied and pasted them from another spot in the map. Literally can't remember the name of them. So if I hit play, we should see water starting to flow into this part, hopefully just a little bit, because I don't really want heaps of water in this area, just like a little channel. So we don't have heaps of space, but I don't really want to make it any bigger because our island isn't that big. So if we make it any bigger, then it's going to look a little bit strange compared to the rest of the island. So I'm going to work with this. We're going to put houses on these roads here, and we'll probably put them on this one too. So the houses, I'm going to go to find it. I'm going to search for some growables, and I reckon we go for, well, I mean, I really want to place down these, but I think they're probably going to be too large. Let's give it a little go. Yeah, definitely too large. So they're 4x4, so we're actually gonna have to go something more around the size of probably like 2. I actually think these mid-century houses are gonna work really well for this area. They're not exactly what they look like. You know, these places are typically 2 stories. They've got a bit of space below for, you know, any potential flooding, but I think in terms of size, scale, they're going to work probably the best. I mean, I do want these to be a little bit more Caribbean inspired, but I think in terms of size, this is actually absolutely perfect. It's still pretty ugly down here and the spacing isn't great. In fact, I want to be able to place down an extra one in there. So I'm going to delete these guys and I'm going to extend out our road just a little bit more. And there should actually be a cul-de-sac on the end of these. So we're going to need a little bit of extra space. This is one of those things where it starts to snowball into something really massive. So we're going to make sure it doesn't turn to anything totally huge. Actually, that's a good point, $2. How about we go a bit smaller instead? Okay, it's getting there. The size is definitely in the right spot, but I actually think this is a good case of you don't want it to get too large. You know, I think this is fine the way it is, but I do kind of just want to see what it looks like if we were to get rid of this chunk of buildings. So what about if we just go like, what does that look like? Ugh. This surface painter problem is really killing me. I'm pretty sure it's nothing to do with surface painter. I'm pretty sure it's something to do with the themed decals and placing them down within the map editor. But man, it's so annoying. I've left a little space for a boat ramp, but I don't have any assets to actually create that boat ramp at the moment. So I'm going to leave it for now, and we'll do a little boat ramp that goes into this channel. But for now, it's looking quite nice down here, and that's with a whole lack of trees. Now we do have a fair bit of concrete in these areas. I've done that intentionally because there is quite a lot of concrete in these areas because they are essentially man-made areas, and we don't really have that much grass unless people have actually gone through and actually planted their own lawns and stuff. But I will go through and actually go and just get rid of maybe a little bit. And I'll make it gravel, which also doesn't look great, but it's kind of what's going on down here. I've also added in these big decals, and I've got mixed feelings about them. I think I'm going to keep them for now, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. But something else I would like to do is there's a node down here. Where is he? There you are. And I'm going to drag it out like that. And I might even drop it into the ground a bit more. Oh, that's cool. I will get rid of those decals because I kind of like this. Well, I don't like that. I like the way that we've got these channels and you can actually see them under the water, which is kind of cool, you know? See that? Nice. Oh man, this whole surface thing's killing me. So I am liking this area down here. It's looking quite nice, but I do need to add a bit of extra details. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get these power poles and I'm going to drag them out on these streets because these add so much detail. And for an area like this that has, you know, I want it to be a bit of a focal point for this island, I think it's kind of necessary. I don't plan to do this on every road on the island, but for some parts, for sure. And now we definitely need some trees. I'm going to go pretty heavy with the palm trees around these parts, but I'm also going to try and keep most trees not too large. I think large palm trees for sure, but I don't think we're going to go any large, well-established trees. You know, I'd imagine that something like this is, you know, still pretty fresh, pretty new. So you wouldn't imagine seeing anything too large. You know, palm trees they can actually transport, and they would have transported them into these areas. But, you know, bigger trees like, you know, something like that size, I don't think would be around here. Trees really do make things look so much better. Oh man, this is looking so great. What I'm going to do now is I want this to really show that this is a new development, different to the rest of the place. So I'm actually going to go and I'm going to grab the road that we used to place down and I'm going to change the color of it. I'll make it a little bit lighter. See what that looks like. Yeah, that looks amazing. I've also left this area as gravel because I wanted to show that it is still being developed on and there is some new space for new development. We've got some little weed tufts in there too. Pretty nice. What we can do now, I haven't tested this out yet, but I think we can pull this off and it's going to look super, super, super cool. I'm subscribed to these boat spawners and they're basically fishing industry. I've used them before in Oceania and this is going to be Something I'm going to place down in, well, probably a little bit too large. I was hoping to place it on that, but that's okay. We might just place it there instead. And basically that's going to have boats spawning in this area, and then we can actually drag out a network like so. And in fact, if I just drag it, maybe if I drag it close to the entrance, then it'll look like boats are actually coming from there. And you're killing me. I'm gonna press play. I'm ready. And hopefully things work out. We're gonna get a little bit of flooding. Uh-oh. Yeah, I'm quite happy with that. And I love seeing these little boats coming out of this channel. Just adds to that realism. That's actually a park, so that's adding a little bit of land value to this area, which is great because some of these places are pretty high up. I mean, that one's all the way up. So we do need some decent land value in this area. Plus, I think it kind of reflects how much these places would actually be worth. I'm gonna add in some trees along this side, leave a little bit of a patch, just because I kind of like that there are little patches of open space. Man, I know I've already said this, but that's ruined. Yeah, I'm gonna call this area pretty much done. If you've got any other ideas for things we should add in this area, let me know. But as you can see, we've got that land value problem again, and I think that's gonna pop up a bit. So what I'm gonna add in now is something that people were suggesting, and that was to actually make this beach a functional park. We can do that pretty easily. I've actually got a couple of great assets gonna help with that. So being a natural environment, I'm going to use the Nature Reserve Park from the Park Life DLC, and I've got these really great gateless entrances so that I don't actually see that stupid gate, because that gate's kind of annoying. It does come with a couple of rocks, but I actually don't mind that. So if I place one there, and I'll extend the park to connect up to that road, and I'm going to extend it all that way, but I think this little beach side I'm probably going to make into more mangroves. And then I've got invisible pathways, so I'm going to drag them across the beach so that we will see people walking across this beach, which I think would be really nice. And then the mid-century pack comes with some pretty cool looking armchairs, not armchairs, beach chairs. So we can actually place them across the beach. These are just props, so they're not actually going to do anything, but I think they're quite nice and they add a little bit of detail to this area. Love this. That was a bit of an accident. Kind of just went a bit rogue and built that, but it looks so sweet, especially getting cars like this driving through, and especially with Sunset City in the background. Oh yeah, this is starting to look super nice. So I've put a little bit of work into this little resort. Actually, I've gone completely rogue with some things. I'll show you some other things I've been working on. But yeah, this little resort, it's looking pretty nice. Not doing huge amounts of detail, just placing down a couple of pools. And we've now got a tennis court over there and another pool. We probably could use some stuff down there, you know, just some bits and pieces. There we go. Nothing too crazy, just a couple of bits and pieces, just to add that little bit of extra detail. But I'm going to keep it pretty bare bones down here, you know? I don't want to go too crazy. The frame rate in San Julia is really nice. I want to try and keep it that way. So I think it's probably good just to keep it a bit like that. Something that I do want to do, just to finish off this area, and if you've got any other suggestions, please let me know, is I feel like we've got this dead end here, but I feel like we need just a little trail going into the mangroves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a path, and I'm going to put in, let's limit some of our search features. If you type in propless, you get these paths, and they come without any of those props, which I think look super nice in places like this. So I'm going to extend it, and because it's more of a walking trail, it's going to do a couple little bends and then creep its way into the mangroves, and that's pretty much where it's going to go. We are still seeing loads of people moving in and driving into San Julia. It is great to see. I mean, I do need to tone it down a little bit by adding in some public transport, but unfortunately not going to get there in today's episode because I am running out of time and I'm on my honeymoon tomorrow, and I really got to go and pack. So I have done a couple of things off camera. I have put in this industrial zone just nestled into the mangroves a little bit, ugly as, but kind of felt like we kind of needed it, just a little bit of industry. And I've also made a little bit of extra clearing too, just into that mangrove area, a little bit of a retaining wall until I build that ramp. And then I've also gone through and, don't do that. Well, I was about to say, I've actually made these construction sites that are now actually turning into construction sites. So I'm going to make that historical so that one doesn't do that. And, come on. I mean, these two places are fine, but it's not what I wanted. I would like my construction sites back. Okay. So, construction sites. I'm going to push that back over there so it fits into where I want it to be. And like that. Okay, they're back. So I just wanted to show that there is some construction going on. This is a bit of a work in progress here. So we've got two buildings that are under construction, look great. Ship going out. Man, this place is just looking so nice. So I'm going to put it to you guys. What sort of public transport are we going to stick in? Because I think that a ferry service would be really cool to see, and people were agreeing in the comments, but it would obviously look pretty cool, but I don't know how realistic it would be, but I guess we'll just wait and see. But anyway, guys, that is it for today's episode. Thank you all so much for watching. It is always very much appreciated. Big shout outs to the wonderful people over on Patreon supporting the channel: Virgil Durand, General Kenobi, Koala, Podrick Callahan, Gavin Coates, Tim Tam Biscuits, Peter, Chinquen, Rachel, Jill C, Hudat, Xavier Diaz, and Masham Nosantio. Thank you guys so much for your support, and I'll catch you all in the next one.